I'm Chinmay Kulatkar. I'm a committer at Apache Apex project, and I'm a software engineer at DataTorrent. I have been working with BigTalk community to integrate Apache Apex with BigTalk. So we're going to see how the integration looks like today. Okay. So just to quickly go over the agenda of today's webinar. So at the beginning we'll cover a little bit about uh, Apex, some brief ideas about what Apex is, how Apex is a native Hadoop integration, a little bit of about the Malar library, and then we'll jump on to the main topic, that is the BigTalk component, how Apex has become a BigTalk component, and how to use BigTalk component as an Apex user. And lastly, but not least, we have created, the community has created a Docker image where one can directly play with the sandbox that we have provided to get started with Apex. So without any further ado, let's get started. So Apache Apex is a platform and a runtime engine that enables the development of scalable and fault-tolerant applications. Now, when I say a platform, that means it manages a whole lot of applications, and it's a runtime engine. That means it makes sure that the streaming is happening correctly. It deals with a highly scalable and fault-tolerant environment or applications. So the scale up and scale down of an application, depending on what kind of throughput you want or latency you want, that's possible with Apex in both static as well as dynamic way. And while all that is in place, the fault tolerance becomes very important because we don't want to lose any data for processing. So fault tolerance is also built-in capability of Apache Apex project. Apex as such, as a runtime engine, it's not running as a separate service in your cluster. So you will not see any services which are dependent or which are related to Apex throughout the cluster. But what we rely on is a Yarn resource manager. That is a Hadoop component, and that's where we need a Hadoop version which is more than 2.2. So all the streaming engine capabilities which are there, they are all built into application master of Apex. Or basically Yarn application. We call it as Tram, and we'll see that in a minute. And all the containers which have the operators, which does a business logic, all of them put together takes care of a streaming engine paradigm. Now Apache Apex is used both for stream as well as batch processing. That means if you have a static data that needs to be processed, you can process that and get a result and still end an application. At the same time, if there is a continuous flow of data that is there, that also works perfectly fine with Apache Apex. From our understanding, a batch is actually a special case of streaming, where in the batch a streaming application stops at some point of time. That's how we look at that. The other important and very important aspect of it is high throughput and low latency. And when we say the reason why we explicitly say low latency is because we don't queue up the data that is coming. As soon as the smallest unit of data is received at our end, we process it as soon as possible, and that is why we get a low latency. But at the same time, as there is a parallelism possible in Apache Apex project or the application involving Apache Apex, you can get a very high throughput. As a part of this this particular project, Apex also gives a library which has a very commonly needed business logics. So these are the operators which are built over top of Apache Apex engine, and most of them are ready to be used in production environment. And finally, even though this particular library is part of the open source project, you can always write your business logic into the operators, and still you can use it in the application. Now, going ahead, a little bit brief overview about how the platform looks like. Is it taking a little bit time to change the slides? Can somebody put in the chat window? All right. Okay, so basically the Apex platform looks something like this. So the bottom layer is are the physical machines, or they can be virtual machines, or even a cloud infrastructure. Built on all these machines is a Hadoop distribution, which we use components of them are Yarn and HDFS. You can work with plain vanilla flavor of Hadoop, but at the same time you can also work with different distros of Hadoop like Cloudera, Hortonworks, Pivotal, and Mapr. So Apex runs successfully in all of them. Now, using these two components of Hadoop, that is Yarn and HDFS, we have built a streaming runtime engine. That's what we call it as Apex engine, which provides you a high performance fault tolerance in complex in-memory processing, and that too while for data in motion. So all the capabilities that we talked about related to high performance, fault tolerance, and in-memory processing, all of that are dealt at this particular layer. Using this runtime engine, we have a library called as Malhar. This is again an open source library, and this contains the set of operators which are ready to be used and deployed in the production environment. And there are a bunch of operators which are even getting developed as of now. Everyone is free to contribute to this particular segment, and as well as the streaming runtime engine as well. At the same layer, you can also see the streaming applications. And the reason why is it part of the same layer is because the streaming application also uses the runtime engine to do the needful, and they also use the open source operators or your own custom operators to build a pipeline. Now, while all that in place, you can see that there's a box at the right hand side which says REST API. Now this becomes very critical because all these components are working in a distributed manner. Somebody has to be there to connect all the pieces together, and that's what is the job of REST API is. So each streaming application master which is part of the streaming runtime engine, it exposes a REST port, and somebody can interact with that. At the same time, the interaction between the operators, across the operators and the Yarn components also happens through this REST API. Now, till now, this was the open source component of Apex. DataTorrent has provided a new platform built over top of Apex, that is DataTorrent RTS platform, and it contains a bunch of further magical components. One such component is graphical application design and launch. So the difference between this and what one would do in open source is that one need not be worried about coding as such to create an application. So the graphical application designer can actually give you a way where you can just drag and drop the operators and connect them together, configure it, and just launch it. One absolutely need not worry about any specific code that one has to write. In the closed source component, that is required. The second important component is data visualization dashboard. Now, the reason why it becomes so important is that with the world moving towards real-time analytics, and you need a very high performance engine that Apex is, but at the same time, what is really happening in the engine is becoming critical day by day. So the data that is getting processed and the sanity of an application is that all can be visualized on the data visualization dashboard. So that is part of the RTS enterprise offering of DataTorrent. And the last component is the management console. So management console makes sure that all the different Apex applications that you have on the cluster being launched, they can be administered, they can be monitored, even the alerting mechanism can be put so that the checks can be added by the administrator to see the sanity of an application. So all that is there as a part of management console. So that's how a layered architecture of Apex platform looks like. Now, this slide is a little bit developer centric, and here I'm going to explain how the programming model of Apex looks like. So we call it as DAG. So it's directed acyclic graph. So what that means is the data is supposed to flow from one stage to the next stage, and it ends somewhere. The main component that one has to deal with in writing an application is an operator. So operator is a component where you have your business logic built in. That could be passing some data, that could be reading from some external location, that could be doing some transformations, and so on. So all those are part of the operator logic code. Can you hear me? All right. Guys, if you're not able to hear me, just put that in the chat window so that I'm aware of that. Okay. So going ahead, the next important component in this DAG is a stream. So stream is basically a network abstraction that connects the two different operators, and this is the layer which assists the data flow from one operator to the next operator. Thank you for the response. So the stream basically transfers the data that is processed by one operator to the next operator through the network abstraction that is provided. And finally, last but not the least, but we have the tuples, which is the smallest unit of data that can flow over a stream. And a tuple is something which is processed at a point of time by the operator. Now, the reason why we say that we do provide a low latency is because as soon as a tuple is received at an operator, it is immediately processed, and the result of that is sent to the stream for the next operator to consume. We don't wait for a bunch of tuples to be arrived, to be queued, and then send forward. So that's what provides a high throughput and along with a low latency as well. So when somebody has to write an application as an Apex application, all that one has to do is add the operators which are picked up either from Mallar library or your custom built logic into a DAG, and just connect the streams, and that is all one has to worry about while writing an application. Okay. So the next I have is Apex Mallar, something related to Apex Mallar library. So this is another open source component of Apache Apex project. This is the place where you will find a bunch of different operators pre-built. They can be directly used easily by any application, and a couple of them include some of the messaging pipelines like Kafka, Solace, Flume, and so on. We also have some NoSQL operators related to Cassandra, HBase, MongoDB, Couchbase, and so on. RDMS, of course, is there. JDBC is a generic one. Oracle and MySQL are variants of the JDBC. Another important one is obviously the file systems. So we have HDFS, NFS, S3, and obviously the local file system as well. There are a bunch of parsers which are there, and this list is small because that's all the size of the box I could get. But there are a couple of new ones which are getting developed, and this list is growing day by day. After this comes the transformations which are possible. So we have filters which filters the data. We have rules, something related to rules, which applies rules on the data. Expression is something which where you can put a business logic as a property to this operator, and it will do an execution, Java execution at the most optimal speed. Deduplication is an operator which deduplicates the data on a particular key, and enrichment is going to enrich the operator through an external system there. The next important set of operators that we have are analytics operators that are dimension aggregation operators. So basically, the data that is flowing through the pipeline is tremendously large, and you want to see the historical data based on some query formats. So we do have operators related to that. And finally, a couple of protocols and some script operators which are there, like JavaScript and Python and R. By the way, there is an active development of Python which is going on, and one of my colleagues is working on it. We are about to provide a full-fledged support of Python for Apex as well. So that's about the Mallar library. I just want to take a logical break here to see if there are any questions. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or you can type in the questions, and I'll make sure that they are answered. I think somebody has raised the hand. Let me check that. All right. Okay, I didn't see that. Fine. Cool. All right. Let's continue further. Now, coming back to the main topic of discussion today is the big talk. Now Apache BigTop is a project in Apache which has created a framework for ease of deployment of the various different components in the cluster, and not just that, but managing them and making sure that the sanity of different components is maintained. So all that framework is provided by BigTop, and we thought that it's a good idea to integrate with BigTop, and that's why we have done it. Via BigTop, we have created a couple of deployable binaries which are there. So we have created RPMs which are tested for CentOS 6.7, Fedora 25, and OpenSUSE 42.1. And for the Debian flavors, we have Ubuntu 16.04 and Debian 8, which is a deb file basically. So one could actually pick up these files and install it directly on their machines, and you have Apex Engine ready to run. We'll see how that looks like in the Docker sandbox anyway. The BigTop framework not just provides these components as the binaries, but they also provide some package test and smoke tests, which basically make sure that the distribution that you have or the deployment that you have done of the Hadoop, they are successfully running. There is no issue in that, and so on. So all that can be taken care of. Now, how would one go about installing Apex via BigTop? So BigTop has a repository. Here's a link that you can see. So this repository has a bunch of files which can assist you in adding to Yum or apt-get installation. And if you're, let's say, install BigTop Hadoop, all you would need to do after you have configured your repository, all you need to do is apt-get install Hadoop or Yum install Hadoop, and you will have Hadoop there. So right now, the current version supported for Hadoop in BigTop is 2.7.3. There is a continuous CI build that is happening. I think it happens every night. So all the packages that are integrated into BigTop, they get compiled nightly, and you can directly go to that and download the Debian and RPM packages from there as well. And once you have downloaded, let's say you have downloaded the Apex package, all you need to do is dpkg-i, the Debian path, or rpm-i, the RPM path, and that's all. You'll have Apex installed with you. In the next release of Apex, and this is currently in future. This is how the future URL of BigTop repository would look like. Now, once you have done this, if you need to install Apex, all you need to do is apt-get install Apex and Yum install Apex, and that will install all the related dependencies of that as well. Now, what we thought is, why just stop there? We'll ease the users like a little bit more easier than that. So we created a Docker sandbox for Apex. You can go to this particular link, that is hub.docker.com/r/Apache Apex/sandbox, and here you will find a Docker image ready to be used for downloading and reusing for free of cost. So one can basically try out Apex here very quickly, and we'll see how it looks like. Basically, that particular image has has HDFS and YARN component pre-configured and running. So one actually need not worry about HDFS at all or Hadoop at all. It has Apex, it has the BigTop Apex component again pre-installed, and all that one has to do to get started with that is just pull the Docker image, that is Apache Apex/sandbox, and run it, run that particular image, and you have a sandbox ready to be used. So after the run is done, you have it's ready to just launch an application here. It's that simple. By the way, with a newer version of Docker, you need not even run the first step. If you just run the second step, this will ensure that if the image is not found, it downloads it automatically and runs that particular image. Okay. So without further delay, I just want to go back to my shell, and I actually want to show how things looks like in the Docker sandbox. Okay. So here is I'm logged into the system. Now I could very well just run this command, docker run -it Apache Apex/sandbox, but I have this particular Docker image created with me already. Okay, so this is the image I have with me. So what I'm going to do is basically I have run this command once, okay, and I am exited from that image. So Docker has created a container for it and saved it automatically. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the same container, okay, and start it. So this is the command to start an existing container for Docker. Okay. Now once this is done, let's see what happens. You can see that it is starting the Hadoop services. So as I said, you need not worry about Hadoop at all. So while this takes this might take a couple of seconds, I'm just going to show you what exactly it is going to start. So this particular Docker image is going to have installed name nodes, secondary name nodes, data nodes of the HDFS services, and resource manager, node manager, and timeline server of Yarn. So it's just going to make sure that all the services are up and running and correctly configured. Okay. So once that is done, the interesting thing starts up. All right. So there's a quick welcome message that you have, and you get a prompt there for starting to use Apex. So all you need to do is we just execute an Apex CLI. Okay. So this has launched an Apex CLI for you, and at this point of time, you can launch any application that you have built. So the way to launch an application is something like this. So I have mounted my home folder to this particular Docker image. So just for the sake of convenience, and I'm just going to launch it. So this is a Pi demo example, which is actually going to just keep calculating the value of pi to a more and more accurate value. I'm going to just exit from this particular CLI, and I'm going to go to root to see whether the logs are actually giving me the right value. So Apex is, this particular user is Apex added to the sudos list, and the password for this user is again Apex. You can go to var log Hadoop Yarn containers and applications. So let me just quickly see which is the std out component. So basically what this application does is it's going to keep calculating the value of pi, and it is going to put the result of pi to an std out operator. So the std out operator is basically the fourth container. So I'm going to go to this container, or let me just state it from here /std out. Okay. So you can see that the value of pi is getting calculated to a more and more accurate value. That's a very standard algorithm that people use. Okay. Now, if you have to kill the application, all you need to do is go back to the Apex CLI. When you are aware of this particular application ID, just do a kill app, and application is killed. So you can just go to list apps, and it will show that application is killed. If it is a running application, this state is running there. Now with that in place, I'm just going to exit the CLI, and I'm going to exit my container as well. Now when that is done, I can still see the container here, and if I have to go back to the same container and do something else, I can just do a start, and I'm back to the same thing. So that is how easy it is to get started with Apex with this particular Docker sandbox. Okay. With that, I just want to quickly go over some of the resources that we have. So you can always visit the Apex website. We have a community where you can subscribe to developers and user mailing list. You can subscribe to the Twitter handle as well, where you can get continuous updates of it. All these slides are shared on the slide shares. There are a bunch of other examples which are also available on Mallar library, and also in Datatorrent examples library. And as a part of Datatorrent offering, we have a startup program which provides a free license for startups, educational institutes, and non-profit organizations. And do try out the cloud trial that Datatorrent provides. So this is a very, very quick way to get started with Hadoop plus Apex provided by Datatorrent. Okay. So with that, I think that is all I have. I'm just going to quickly look at if there are any questions to be taken. So, all right. So the first question is, can you please give the example of various problems and help us to understand how Apex will help solve those problems? So Apex is basically a runtime streaming engine. In today's world, the data is not just static, but it is continuously moving. So you should have heard about something called as Kafka. That is a continuous uh, the streaming kind of input source where the data is coming into that and some getting collaborated there, and somebody has to process it, but that too at a rate of at the runtime rate. So that is where Apex comes into picture. Think about it like sensor data that you have and you want to process the data as soon as possible. That is where something like Apex comes into picture. But not just that, as I said before, it is having a complete full-fledged batch support as well. So even if you have a static data and your data is periodically changing, you can use the Apex platform to do batch processing as well. So I have got I'm not question, it's a note from Mithun. It says that yes, I'm recording the session. So this session will be provided on YouTube for you. All right. Yes, so Mithun, the session will be present on YouTube, and the link for the session for the YouTube as well as this particular slide will be made available through the meetups or through the webinar links that you have subscribed to very soon. All right. So there's a question from Ganesh. He says that how does Apex compare with Spark's structured streaming? Is it an alternative or complementary? I would say both here because as I said before, I think Spark queues up the data and then process it is what I know. Because of that, Spark does provide a very high throughput, but because it is queuing up the data, it's going to provide high latency as well. With Apex, it is going to wait for the first tuple to be received and immediately process it. It doesn't wait for a micro batch or something like that to be created. So that's what is the difference that I see. If that matters to you, then maybe Apex is a better option for you. Yes, the links will be shared with you for through the meetup and all. So that information will be provided to you very soon. All right. So I think that is all I have, and I don't see any hand raised. So that's all I have from about this webinar, guys. Thank you so much.